Howdy doody. Welcome to episode 264 of TDI. This is Dr. O on the horn to start per usual. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, my best friend, and Snyder Cut cultist, Ricky Flicks. How are you, my friend? Did you check out the Rebel Moon trailer?
I did. How you doing, Doctor? I did. And these intros are getting out of hand. They're getting out of hand. Yes, I support the Snyder Cut. Cultists, I think after the Rebel Moon comments here, you'll say I'm not a cultist.
Okay, well, I'm very interested in hearing your thoughts because this is truly going to be an immediate trailer reaction. We both just watched it. I just watched it for a second time. Ricky Flicks watched it a first time. It dropped about 15 minutes ago. This is a movie that's due out, I believe, in November of this year.
December.
Is it December? Okay, December. I know they announced it right at the end, the actual release date of part 1. And part 2, I think, is April of 2024. About 5 months apart, we're getting Rebel Moon part 1 and 2. Netflix trying to grow their own sci-fi blockbuster franchise, if we want to call any type of Netflix film a blockbuster. Who knows? So, Ricky Flex, immediate reactions after seeing that. Were you a fan of the trailer, or are you more of a meh type of guy?
This is Zack Snyder to the max. You're going to get the action, right? And you're going to get the slow-mo. A lot of slow-mo. I think this is going to be the highest amount of slow-mo we've ever seen from a Zack Snyder movie. 3.5 minute long trailer, and probably a third of it was in slow-mo, with the Anthony Hopkins voiceover behind it. Which, again, that's gonna hit. Like Helen Mirren and Barbie, it's gonna hit. So yes, give him his flowers there. I think some of these castings are interesting. We have a Corey Stoll in this for like a hot second. Ed Skrein is kind of just the Deadpool 1 villain, is kind of the main character, along with Sophia Boutella, who's in The Mummy / Star Trek Beyond and Kingsman with the swords for feet. Like, she's kind of the main character too. But I think the biggest takeaway I have from this trailer is I love how we already have a set date for the second movie, because all these writer strikes and actor strikes and uncertainties, it's telling us, oh, you're getting a sequel, and you're not going to get it with, oh, we don't know when, TBD, could be a couple years out. No, it's coming out 5 months later, and it's going to try to capitalize on the success at the end of the year of this huge quote-unquote blockbuster Netflix, albeit event. So I do think that is the biggest pro or positive coming out of this, is that, yes, we already have a sequel set date, which is unbelievable in this day and age in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, it's so interesting with the SAG-AFTRA strikes going on right now. It seems like that's not going to promote Netflix movies as much. Like Netflix, when they have new quote-unquote major releases, they usually don't spend too much time on promotion, right? You just put it on the Netflix top 10. You usually get a trailer very close to the movie's release. Here, we get basically a 4-minute trailer months upon the release of Zack Snyder's newest sci-fi franchise. And I agree with you, Ricky Flex. This is the most Zack Snyder trailer of all time. And I think it's pretty obvious that Zack Snyder cut this himself. So man who's known for not being able to cut out portions of his movie, wanting to keep in as much as possible, really embrace the world building of it all. The slow-mo, you mentioned it, the epic score that's happening. I don't think this is going to outdo the slow-mo in 300, because I don't think any movie ever has outdone the slow-mo in 300, at least that's pretty much half of the runtime. And I think Sophia Boutella is going to be the star, judging by this trailer. I'm not familiar with her. I'm interested in seeing her after this trailer, because it seems like they're building this whole thing around her. And then it was a lot of like who's who, where it's like a lot of B-name actors that you just can point out. And then you have Anthony Hopkins in the background, right? Where it's like, okay, the budget, we're going a lot towards Anthony Hopkins, and then we can afford a bunch of role players here. I'm okay with that, and you're banking on this rising star. To go a little deeper here, Ricky Flex, I thought that this trailer was kind of a mix of Dune and Star Wars with a Zack Snyder spin. I think those three complement each other and create this epic looking saga that we're going to see from Netflix. What kind of vibes did you get from this sci-fi trailer?
Yeah, because we keep hearing this is a Star Wars Netflix is trying for, and I just don't see that personally. I see more of a Dune, where you still have the sci-fi futuristic technology, but yet it's all about the resources. You have this prodigal Jesus Christ figure, and I think this more aligns to Dune than a Star Wars. And I think, just to go back on a comment you said, it is interesting how literally we have B and C list actors throughout this entire cast. Like the entire cast. And then you have Anthony Hopkins as the voiceover, the only really true A-lister in this cast. It's an interesting play because usually Netflix, they usually are banking on their stars here. Even with if like they have a Scorsese movie or a big time director who gets free reign, Fincher, they make sure they pay a big star to come in. Instead, for Zack Snyder, they're giving him close to $200 million budget for these two movies, and they're saying cast whoever you want. And Zack Snyder goes, all right, I'll cast Charlie Hunnam. No disrespect, he's my guy, but like Charlie Hunnam, like he's not. He's Guy Ritchie's guy, one of Guy Ritchie's guys, and Sons of Anarchy.
He never really cashed in. He had his chance.
Right. You have Demon Hunsu, who's like second, third, fourth on Gladiator. He's like you have all these like supporting actors, and they're trying to get these up and coming like a Sofia Boutella to be your like star here. It's just an interesting tactic for a Netflix to do. I think that's another takeaway I just wanted to mention here. But overall, I think you're exactly right. This is so Zack Snyder. It doesn't hurt, but it's going to be maybe painful watching it if it doesn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, that cast, I'm just thinking about it now when we roll through those names like Corey Stahl, Ed Skrein, Ray Fisher. It's like guys that had their chance, Charlie Hunnam, to like go from a superhero or blockbuster genre and then elevate into an A-list status, but just never got there. They seem like really trustworthy actors for an action movie. It doesn't seem like we're trying to do anything too experimental because we're trying to create a brand new world here. And Zack Snyder working with people that he has some comfortability with, like a Ray Fisher coming back here. It looks interesting, and it has the Dune aspect because it seems like these people from a foreign planet or maybe just somewhere in the galaxy, maybe a patrol or maybe a government of the galaxy invading this world and them rebelling. But like you talk about that Messiah type of figure, that's also in Star Wars, though. They also have the Luke Skywalker type of figure. And then we got to bring up there's lightsabers in this. There's no bouncing around this at all. I was looking for like what type of new technology are we going to see from Rebel Moon? Something that's comparable to Star Wars? I didn't think they were going to directly rip off lightsabers. Like seeing that with the double lightsaber with Ahsoka Tano debuting this week, I couldn't get it out of my brain.
I honestly don't even remember. I literally watched this 2 minutes ago.
Immediate reaction.
I do not remember the lightsabers in the trailer.
Yeah, so it might have been Sophie Boutella's character. There weren't many, but it was like a double red lightsaber she whips out, and she's like wielding them with two hands. But it goes with the slow-mo. I think it works well with the Zack Snyder. I don't know what to think because every time I see a Zack Snyder trailer, I'm like, this movie's going to be fire. And then it ends up being the most divisive thing ever released. So I don't want to put too much stock into it. But I am excited to see it. And, I think I like Zack Snyder movies, his pantheon, his filmography, more so than other, I would say, general audiences. And I really did love, not love, but I really, really liked the Snyder Cut. So I'm interested because he's done like a Spartan movie. He's done a DC like world building. We've seen what he potentially had in mind that never got seen through. With what's happened with the DC extended universe. And now he's going into the space sci-fi realm. It seems like he's touching every single corner of blockbuster filmmaking.
I am definitely going forward. Like, I think one of the things on this podcast I'm trying to do with these trailers is kind of hold myself in check a little bit and kind of just check on the behind the scenes, like the directors, the screenwriters, and everything behind the scenes to see, all right, thermometer predictors, like how is this movie going to be doing, And I think for Zack Snyder here, my favorite Zack Snyder film, Watchmen, it's more grounded. Even though it deals with superheroes and Dr. Manhattan, Superman type of figure, super being God, it's still a grounded story with these superheroes that don't really have superpowers, for the most part. This one, it's the exact opposite. It's sci-fi, it's galaxy, universe, if you want to go lightsabers, Star Wars or Dune. it makes me just a little nervous with Zack Snyder having too much free reign here with Netflix. And I'm just trying to be realistic, and that's why off the top, when you're like Snyder cut aficionado or whatever, Snyder
Cultist.
cultist, I'm just not. Even though I support Zack Snyder.
Now, I'll take the hit on this one. I'll say I have some high anticipation for it, just because even these B-level actors, I do enjoy them, and I like them in their like character parts that these actors do. We'll keep you in touch with what's going on with Rebel Moon. It's a hell of a first trailer, a 4-minute trailer. I think the last time we had about a 4-minute trailer was Fast and Furious, Fast X.
How long was Killers of the Flower Moon?
Oof, I don't know if it was 3 minutes, dude. 3.5.
I think it was over 3.
Okay, double check that right now. I can't believe Scorsese would have a 3-minute trailer. But just the length of it, I'm like, Zack Snyder had his fingerprints on this, no doubt about it.
Okay, I was wrong. 2.5 minutes, 2:33.
But as we're wrapping up this conversation, I don't think Snyder's going to be reinventing the wheel in terms of like themes that we've seen in sci-fi movies. Only difference here, we have a female-led heroine, a la the sequel trilogy, Rey in the Star Wars franchise. But I don't like. I think it's just going to be like Dune type of themes, imperialism. Okay, maybe war over resources. Grassroots type of rebellion, type of war themes that we're going to see. I don't think it's reinventing the wheel, but what we see, I think it's going to be distinct. Like, hey, that's Star Wars, and this is like Zack Snyder-esque Star Wars. I think it's going to be really clear.
Yeah, definitely not reinventing the wheel, but I'm hoping it's not formulaic. I do trust Zack Snyder to make things interesting and his own twist on it. And yes, Killers of the Flower Moon 2:51, 2 minutes 51 seconds, the full official trailer. So it was close, but I was wrong.
Yeah. Almost 3 minutes. Like Zack Snyder, a full minute after that. And of course, this is like a part 1 and part 2 to start off a franchise. Do we expect anything less? We know he can't hold a runtime.
I was honestly, I almost was thinking, is he going to put in a part 3? I had it in my mind.
Oh man, I don't know. Like potentially, I think it's really open to what he wants to do. If this one gets, I don't know how many views on. I hate using that word views or I don't know what it's not box office. I don't know how many views you get, I guess, on Netflix. And it's gonna be interesting. Like if we go after the SAG-AFTRA strikes, is Netflix gonna have to be like transparent about their viewership on their projects? I wonder if like that's gonna play a part into the future of this franchise and whether they keep investing in the Zack Snyder franchise. Historically, a guy who has not been successful at creating a franchise, but Netflix is taking a little bit of a gamble.